podcast. We have here the owner of Certified Roofing, Dion. Pleasure.
Hey,
Thank you for being on.
Thank you.
Could you give us a brief overview of your background and experience in the commercial roofing industry?
Yeah, it started a long time ago. I dropped out of college to be a roofer at 17, and it was a little bit of a fake it until you make it type of story. But I guess you could say I made it, and now we're a commercial roofing company here in Boston.
Okay.
And I love doing it. It's been about 17 years now.
Wow. Okay. And what sets your company apart from the other companies doing commercial roofing?
I think there's a couple of things that set us apart. First and foremost, we are customer oriented. That is unique in the commercial roofing space. And then secondly is I love to educate the customer on the roofing systems and the different options and the use of them and the different applications. So that's something that we all do. We educate ourselves on different roofing systems, and then we make sure we tailor make the roofs for whatever the need is of that building. Okay.
And does your project manager, do you usually have a project manager or supervisor on site for your projects?
Always. Can't leave the guys to themselves. They're
Is
great.
it generally you?
No, it's not generally me, but I work very closely with the team. So most of the time I am on our larger projects, but the smaller ones, anything under about 30,000 square feet, I'll have one of our project managers taken care of.
And does your company provide any warranties on anything like that?
Warranties?
Yes.
That's what we do. Specifically because what sets apart residential roofing companies and commercial roofing companies is that commercial roofing companies have had training from the manufacturers of membrane products. So anyone could roof a house, that makes them a roofer. They can say they're a commercial roofer, but what really does it is getting that training from the manufacturers of commercial roofing products.
Okay.
So we've been trained and certified with almost all of the major commercial roofing companies, including Carlisle, Genflex, and others. And so what we do when we offer warranties is we offer our company warranty, and depending on the system that we put on the building, it could be anywhere from 10 to 30 years, and that's good. But even more important, we offer the manufacturer system warranty, and that covers labor and materials because we're certified with the company or the manufacturer where we're installing the products. So you get that from them, and these are all billion-dollar companies. So.
Okay. Yeah. And with your extensive experience, doing roofing now for 17 years, is there any notable projects that you've done, or projects that really stick out in your mind when you think of them?
Yeah. My favorite project, I'll go recently, is a restoration we did of a plaza. I like that one because it was a PVC roof. And PVC roofs, when you think about PVC, a lot of times people think about PVC pipe. It's like that hard pipe.
That's what I would think.
Yeah, exactly. So it's actually a roofing system. It's one we installed too. But in order to get that roofing system to lay out as a sheet and not be so hard, so tensile, they use a chemical called plasticizers to soften it. These plasticizers are a chemical that actually moves, so it doesn't really allow for fluid applied roofing systems to adhere well to it. So you can use a primer, and depending on your adhesion test, you can get some good adhesion there. But when it's old, the plasticizers migrate out of it. So it was an old PVC roof that had not leaked very much. We were able to do repairs, replace the wet insulation, and then go over it with silicone. So that was my first fluid applied roof system over PVC, and I loved it because we were able to save the building owner over $200,000 because the system was about half the cost of EPDM, which he was looking at.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, $250,000. I'd be pretty happy about saving that. I'd say.
He was happy. He played it off a little bit, but he was really happy, and ultimately he was most happy when he got the job inspected by the manufacturer and certified by them. So he got a 20-year warranty from the manufacturer and from the company.
And saved a ton of money, so that sounds pretty
a
good deal.
That's a real win-win, an actual win-win, which is rare nowadays.
Yeah. And then can you explain to me how drone inspection works?
Oh, drone is. So roofers, we use drones a lot now because it's safer and so
Yeah.
forth, just to get good images of the roof and so forth. But what we have is thermal drones, so we can get thermal scans of the roof. And so what we do when we send out a proposal for a project, usually, is we're able to get the drone up there, get some thermal imaging, and get forensic with the whole situation. Get underneath the rubber membrane or whatever membrane we're looking at, get into the insulation to see how wet it is, where infiltration was happening, where water infiltration was happening. And what that allows is for us to kind of limit, or it opens us up to different roof systems. So it really, really gives us a good idea as to the best system for that building, and that's something that we do for at no cost. We put our thermal roof imaging in the proposal, and
Okay.
everyone really likes it, and we're able to explain it to them, and it's something very, very useful for the
Okay. And
building.
what's like the estimated value of like if I were to get that, just the thermal imaging done like separately?
Yeah, depending on the size of the building, anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000.
All right. So let's talk more about the silicone based roofing system. Is there an advantage to it that commercial owners might benefit for? Like, tell me more about it.
There are so many benefits. There are so many benefits. So when you're looking at replacing a roof, you have your membrane roofing system, whether it's rubber, PVC, TPO. Generally, you have three different options. You can recover it, you can restore it, or you can replace it. So recovery is when you haven't had too much water infiltration, you're able to repair the insulation spots, do some repairs to the existing, and then you go over it with recovery board. It's a thin layer of insulation, half-inch layer. You screw that down or mechanically fasten it, and then you go over the roof with another membrane. This is generally the most cost-effective system, and you're able to get a system warranty from the manufacturer as well. So that's usually option one for your average building owner. It saves money and it gets the roof done, and it's the least disruptive system. Now, restoration, on the other hand, is even better because you're using a better material, better product. It's a better system, silicone, because instead of going over membrane roofing with new membrane roofing, where water can potentially get trapped, create a greenhouse effect, and have condensation and so forth. That's a whole nother topic. But either way, what you're doing is you're creating a completely monolithic layer. So it's a roof with no seams. And so when the rubber, the PVC, or the TPO is manufactured, it's done in factories and it is in a liquid state. They add chemicals and then they cool it to create sheets, and then it's assembled on a roof. So with the silicone, this liquid applied system, you're essentially doing everything. You're doing the manufacturing right on the roof. And then you're cooling it all at one time, and it creates one sheet, one monolithic seamless sheet.
Okay.
There are no organic materials in silicone, so it's resistant to UV rays, it's super water resistant, it's elastomeric, so it's not crazy tensile strength, it doesn't crack. It's an amazing system where you can get up to a 20-year warranty. And so when you go to restore a roof this way, you don't have to remove the existing roofing material. You go right over it. So you could imagine if you have a building in the city, or if you have a manufacturing plant or a hospital, all of that disruption of replacement goes away. So we're able to save the building owner that way. Another thing is the energy code kicks in once you strip a roof down to the roof deck, and you need to add 5.2 inches of insulation to get to R30.
Okay.
Now, when you don't strip it and you restore using a liquid applied roof system like silicone, you don't have to worry about that energy code. You meet the energy code because you're already it's existing. So you save so much there, and you get a better roof system, and it's the least amount of disruption for your business or for those that live in your building. Another thing for building owners is how it's classified. Now this is a tax code thing, which is a little strange, but it's tax code 179A. When you restore a roof using silicone, because a lot of it has to do with coating the roof, almost like painting, it's considered maintenance.
Really?
Yeah, and not an improvement. So this isn't something that needs to be deducted over many years as a capital expenditure. You can write off the entire thing
Wow.
in the first year.
Huh.
Yeah, that's a huge
That's
benefit.
nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not all about money. It's literally the best system. Again, it's completely seamless. It goes on. You have different colors. You can be more energy efficient with it. White is the most common color for silicone roofing. And what that does is it allows for a minimal amount of thermal expansion. So as the temperature changes, in New England we get
Yeah.
wide swings in temperature.
Yeah, yeah, huge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It expands and contracts much less because it doesn't get as hot as what a rubber roof would.
Okay.
Yeah. So I love it. It's just the absolute, it's the absolute best system. Not all, it doesn't, not every roof qualifies for it though.
Okay.
That's the only challenge, but I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Yeah. So is there any like climate that it specializes in that it's better in? I'm assuming then it's better in a hot climate than over a cold climate?
Yeah, no, it's the best system in pretty much any climate. When it comes to when it comes to installation, you need 32 degrees and rising. So in New England, in the New England area, it is a limited season for application. Kind of have to shut it down around November and then open it back up in May.
Gotcha.
So that's one of the reasons why it's not as common and popular here, because you have to kind of really have to plan and get your logistics in place to make sure you can get a good install done with the weather.
Okay. Very interesting. What are some of the cost savings or long-term benefits over using the silicone-based roofing system?
Yeah, long-term benefits is it doesn't require any maintenance.
Okay.
Very minimal. If anything, we can do a light pressure washing, just to keep it clean. But unlike other roofing systems that need the seams to be repaired over a certain amount of years, this isn't something like that. When it says 20 years, it's 20 years. Another one of the benefits is it's about half the cost.
Really?
Yeah, of a replacement roof. So if you were to replace the roof of your building with rubber, TPO, or PVC, generally speaking, you're going to start at half the cost, depending on what repairs have to be done beforehand. So again, huge win-win. Better system, half the cost. We talked about it a little bit earlier. You can deduct the cost the first year.
Yeah, which is a huge benefit, I think.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Everyone loves that part.
So if it's half the cost and it's just better all around, is this like a newer technology? Is there a reason it hasn't like caught on as much with business owners or?
Yeah. No, it's not really a newer technology. It's been around since the 70s. And it's more popular in other parts of the country.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, New England is a little bit old school.
Yeah.
And commercial roofing itself is a little bit of a close-knit industry. That's because there are very few commercial roofing manufacturers that make the membrane for the buildings. There's very few of them. And those are the ones that certify the companies. And essentially, that's what makes you a commercial roofer.
Gotcha.
So they're not certifying new companies very often, especially here in New England and the Boston area. Because of that, the existing commercial roofers, they prefer to use membrane roofing. And the manufacturers prefer that their membrane roofing is used because it's a higher ticket item.
Yeah.
It's more sales for everybody. It's a bigger number for everybody.
Are there any environmental impacts or is there energy saving kind of capabilities of the silicone-based product?
No. I'm just joking. No, again, I love the silicone roofing products because they have so many benefits. One of them, too, is energy efficiency. So the majority of the roofs here in New England, again, are EPDM, and those are black and absorb heat. And that can put a lot of stress on HVAC systems, insulation, and so forth. So this actually helps keep the building cooler, which can lead to savings for your HVAC. Another huge benefit is called the cool roof effect. So in some communities across the country and government municipalities, they've been working on having fluid applied roofing systems and cool roofs or white roofs on entire communities to lower the thermal temperature in the area. and that way benefiting
Really?
the entire.
That's surprising. Okay. Is there any type of extra roof preparation that is required for the fluid applied roofing system?
I'm glad you asked that. I'm glad you asked that because there are some companies that do roof coating. They're roof coating companies. But when we talk about fluid applied roofing systems, it's very different because roof coating companies are what could come to the imagination. Like you're painting a roof, that's simple.
Yeah.
And it could be an oversimplified process. But because we're a commercial roofing company, we're certified with these manufacturers. What we're doing is we're waterproofing the roof.
Okay.
So water cannot get into the roof, it cannot leak, and you have a 20-year warranty for that. In order to be able to do that, it can require extensive repairs to the existing membrane roofing system, up to and including removing pipe boots, pipe flanges, removing sections of the membrane and replacing wet insulation, adding rust strips to perimeters, all things that should have been done originally that often are overlooked. So those things are part of the prep work. We do that. Then after we shore up the roof, after we shore up the roof, we go through and we pressure wash the entire thing. And we do that with different cleaning solvents, depending on what the spec calls for. So we pressure wash the roof, and then we can go through, prime it, if necessary, and then we can apply our silicone. The silicone's always applied at, depending on the warranty, you do like about 0.36 in terms of millage. It's always based on millage or how many millimeters thick. 0.36 will get you about 20 years. And there's a denser flashing grade material. And so all of the details and perimeters are flashed with those denser silicone materials before we even do the coating. So it's waterproof first.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is it just kind of pressure washing that the maintenance manager or maintenance company would need to do to maintain the roof, or is it a little bit more extensive over the years?
Yeah, so three things. When we do our maintenance packages, we'll offer a maintenance package after we do the roof for a nominal cost. It keeps us in touch with the building owner, which we enjoy being in touch with. So what we do is we make sure the drains are all free of debris. Any scuppers are free of debris. Any gutters are free of debris. So that's part of it. That's the first step. The second thing, we'll pressure wash it as well. And then the third is we do inspection after storms or a very serious weather event. So we'll go inspect just to make sure everything's okay.
Okay. And how does the silicone generally react in extreme, either extreme heat, extreme cold, snow, stuff like that?
Yeah, great. It's that light color, usually white. So again, it's the least amount of thermal expansion that you're going to get from any system. It has great elasticity, so it's very flexible. It's not like some other coatings. Polyurethane is another coating that is popular in some areas, but it has extreme tensile strength, so it can crack under pressure.
Gotcha.
Silicone's never going to crack under pressure because of its flexibility, its elastomeric qualities.
Okay. And is there any extra compliance standards that you need to maintain or upkeep now that if somebody was to switch over to a silicone-based roof system or a fluid-based roof system?
That's a good question. No.
It's all the same as standard? Okay. And could you share some myths or misconceptions about that fluid-based system that?
Yeah, the first one is that you're just painting a roof. It's not that simple. Without understanding roof principles, without having years of thinking like a drip on a flat roof, it's difficult to waterproof the roof first. And that's the importance. We want to make sure we're waterproofing the roof using those flashing grade silicone materials first, checking vulnerable areas like drains, perimeters, curbs, and so forth. That's one myth, that it's just painting, but it's not as simple as that. We do a lot of metal roofing, and that's a spray-on application because it gets up under. And it is true that the best application is rolling on with brushes. So the way we do it is we roll it out, squeegees, and then we back roll with a brush. Okay. And the 3/4 inch nap allows us to get the perfect millage. So it's the best that way. But that would be the first misconception, that it's just painting a roof. It's actually waterproofing the roof if done by a certified commercial roofing contractor. The second misconception is that roof coatings fail and that they're not a quality product. That is because a lot of roof systems or fluid applied roofing systems were done using acrylic. Acrylic is a different coating system, and it does have an application specifically for metal roof, but it has been put on a lot of buildings by DIY type of people or handyman or so forth as a repair, and it just cannot hold up to a New England weather and snow. So acrylic, no.
Yeah.
Silicone, absolutely.
Yeah, it's just kind of a Band-Aid, it sounds like.
Exactly, and that was used often, and it is less expensive than silicone. So without knowing about silicone fluid applied roofing systems, 100% silicone, that's something that people think that it's not a quality product.
Okay. And has there been any advancements recently in the technology that goes into the silicone roofing?
We're gonna have to edit this one out because no, it's been awesome always.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
great. Well,
Sorry.
hey, if you got a good product, you don't change it, I guess.
Yeah, it came out in the 70s with GE, but that's a whole nother thing.
That's
I don't
wild.
know.
Hey, if you, it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah, it's all the same. Like everybody.
Are there any notable trends or emerging technologies in the silicone-based roofing industry at the moment?
Not so much. There's just some very progressive commercial roofing companies like mine that's promoting it and being able to get system warranties for different building owners. So that's pretty much what's going on.
Okay. And is there any like proper roof design or specific designs of roof that either maximize or can negatively impact the silicone-based system?
Yeah, because a silicone-based system, a fluid applied roofing system with silicone is a restorative system, so it's about restoration. There has to be a membrane roof in place already. So that's the first thing. It's not really something for new construction. And then that roof system, it can't have too much water infiltration.
Okay.
Because we'll be replacing too much insulation and membrane to the point where it's no longer cost effective. So the roof has to qualify, and we qualify it through those thermal drone scans and then core testing, which is cutting into the roof and then repairing it.
Okay. And is there any type of challenges that one might encounter when thinking about applying a silicone-based roof system?
No, it's an easier install.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any notable differences in how you would apply that silicone system over a conventional system?
Yeah. Some of the membrane roofs, TPO and PVC specifically, they don't adhere as well. So we do our adhesion tests and we have different primers that we apply first that make sure that we get that perfect adhesion. So that's based on, again, the adhesion test. But generally, rubber, TPO, PVC, even mod systems, mod bitumen, we can go right over those.
Okay. And how does a silicone-based system compare lifespan-wise to a traditional system?
Equal or better.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you, for example, if I'm going to get a certified roof system with major manufacturer, for example, Carlisle rubber roof system, 20-year, 55-mile-per-hour warranty. And I'm going to shoot for that warranty. That's based on a spec or the install specification that Carlisle sets. So if you do that with rubber, you're going to get a 20-year roof. I could get the same 20-year roof with a fluid applied roofing system using silicone with Carlisle
Okay.
or another. There's a lot of different manufacturers. I do have my preference, and they have different options based on their support and different things. So that does change. I wasn't going to share that quite yet.
How would a building owner or facilities manager assess that it might be time to switch to a silicone-based system? Like, is there anything they should look for? Is it just kind of on a damage basis that they would do that?
Yeah. So generally speaking, major building is going to have a warranted system with a manufacturer in place already. So what you want to do is stay up to date with that warranty, keep on track as to when it's going to expire. So if you have a 20-year EPDM roof system from Carlisle, Firestone, which is now Elevate, whichever, you want to make sure before you get to the end of that, you call for an inspection because you can put a silicone fluid applied roofing system over it and then you can get another 20 years without replacing it.
Okay.
So you want to, that's the first thing. You just want to keep on track with where your warranty is. And then if you have any issues, a leak, if you notice any seams that are starting to fail, anything like that, get an inspection. I specifically for my company, but this video isn't about my company. It's about
Yeah.
how awesome silicone roofs are.
Okay. And is there any differences from the alternative to silicone roofing right now in terms of like noise reduction or sound insulation?
No, it's just as loud
Okay.
or not loud. It's equal loudness.
All right. What advice would you give to roofing contractors and business owners on staying up to date with current silicone technology?
Generally, I don't make it a practice to advise other roofing contractors about roofing materials
Yeah,
or
yeah.
installation techniques or products. But I will say to any building owners or groups or condo associations, fluid applied roofing systems using 100% silicone is awesome. If your roof qualifies, it's the best. If you could take advantage of it and get one of those type of roofs on your building, it's so worthwhile. The reason for the video in general is just to give really good information about these type of systems and clear up some misconceptions.
Yep.
So I think that we've done that. Thank you for the
Yeah.
thank you for the great questions. But something that I do always suggest to building owners is literally to just Google it. You're gonna find so much information, and you'll be able to see technical data sheets, you know, where you can get into the chemistry of silicone and see why it's such a great system. And they can even explain it better than I am, because truly I'm a roofer by trade. I'm a commercial roofer, and this happens to be a product and system that I love. So that would be my advice. My advice is for building owners, and it is to seriously consider this, educate yourself on the system, and look into it.
Cool. And here's just a personal question, really. If you could recap into like the 4 major advantages of the silicone-based roofing system, what would those be?
Half the cost, better system. Yeah, it's about half the cost to install, and it's a better system because it doesn't have any seams. It's super water resistant. It stands up to ponding water better than any other system. There are huge tax incentives.
Yeah.
Being able to write it off in the first year is huge.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And it's one of the least disruptive systems because we don't have to remove the existing roof. So it is a win-win if the roof qualifies.
Sweet. Well, I think that's all the questions I have for today. Thanks for being on, Dion, and kind of giving everybody some more knowledge on this silicone-based roofing system.
My pleasure. I'd love to talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you.